All of you.
Good evening.
My mother is not from England because English is not the first language for me. I was one of the victims of not studying grammar. Still, I had practiced conversation skills, but not at all successful. I had to struggle a lot. Nobody was able to understand what I was talking with the without. So, I had to go back to the schooling again, as advised by my grandfather, start educating again and again. Somewhere somebody pushed me that grammar is more important in your life than mere conversation skills. That has gone into my mind. But I didn't take it seriously until I landed in UAE. There people started identifying how grammar is more important. During the year 2005, Toastmaster, my mentor Sundaraj, identified me and said, "There is no point in joining Toastmasters and speaking language. Your grammar is horrible. Even grammarian is not able to correct it." His clock stopped. So he told me, "Stop attending Toastmasters. Go to the British High Council. 1 week course," he recommended. The 1 week, that fellow became mad. Because I was so bad. My language in the schooling and everywhere was mother tongue. Then someone or other, my company told me, "You have to improve. You are in the position of credit controller, so you have to go for." I am the brand ambassador of the company, so I have to keep the image of my company as well as my image. So I started going for the English language course, started improving one by one. Slowly, my professionalism also improved because of studying grammar, and conversation skills also improved. Grammar is like the dressing of the language. How do you feel if there is no dress? I mean the grammar. So, these things really, grammar, how helped me so much. When I was, even now, my kids used to come and correct me when I make a lot of mistakes. Yesterday also, before coming for the debate, my daughter used to correct. So, which means I am still correcting myself and learning. Studying grammar is more important than for my conversational skills. Good grammar is the foundation for good conversational skill, which will lead you to success in your life if you are strong. I rest my case. Over to you.
I have not known two individuals who got into a tremendous fight just because of a wrong grammar usage. But I have known a lot who got into a serious trouble because they do not know how to converse well. Fellow Toastmasters, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Practicing conversational skills is more important than studying grammar. Why? Practicing conversational skills is the actual application, while studying grammar is just a theoretical approach. You cannot learn how to swim just by reading about swimming. You need to get into the water and actually do it. Fellow Toastmasters, conversation is an exchange of ideas by spoken words. For a conversation to become a conversation, there has to be a listener, a speaker, a conveying of ideas, and there has to be this kind of connection. Now let me set and share some major points why practicing conversational skills is more important than studying grammar. In Maslow's hierarchy of needs pyramid, remember that belongingness and love need should be fulfilled before you go to the cognitive needs. And then, if not teach your toddler the grammar, you have to teach him first how to converse properly. Second, there is more to conversation than good grammar. When my mommy says, "Shola, what is your towel doing under your bed?" with matching raising of eyebrows, then I know that she is mad at me. Why? Because a conversation also has non-verbal skills. You have the looks, the body language, and the tone of speaking. And actually, we do not totally ignore the positive effects of having a good grammar usage. We just say that you need to practice more than just studying grammar. Say for example, the Toastmasters International. I do not remember taking a grammar exam before I was allowed to join the Oasis Achievers Club, right?
Yes.
And also, we practice our conversation skills by having speeches, project speeches, speech after speech, and I don't know, but our grammar in our club functions well. And lastly, here in this Toastmaster debate competition, grammar is just 10% of the whole package. I don't know what our worthy opponent is thinking about that. In conclusion, practicing conversation skills is more important than studying grammar, because if we learn how to convey our ideas properly, we will learn how to be in reality, and it is such a fulfilling feeling if you know how it is like, how it feels like to be in a very good conversation. Over to you.
Okay, John.
I am really happy to be here today because this is my first time to be in front of you, and I am just new in Toastmasters. Fellow Toastmasters, good evening.
Good evening.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, what I said as my introduction is a sentence incorrect grammar. But was it effective? Was I effective in relaying my communication to you? My point there, fellow Toastmasters, is that there is more to communication, there is more to conversation than just good grammar. The opposition side likes to forward our case for this debate because of various reasons, but let me take you on this point per point. Our worthy opponents have mentioned about they are not successful, or specifically the first speaker wasn't successful in life because no one could understand him and because he was speaking with good grammar. Ladies and gentlemen, with my introduction, I just illustrated to you that there was more to communication, there was more to effective conversation than just good grammar. Second point, ladies and gentlemen, he has shared his stories about being here in the UAE, and he said that he realized how important grammar is when he became an expat in a foreign country. But I would like to ask you, the ticket girl in the metro station so conscious of your grammar more than the ability to relate to her that you want to purchase a ticket? The random stranger in the street was so conscious with your grammar rather than your ability to ask her on where is a good Indian or Filipino restaurant when you were new here? Was it more important to the police if you asked him in good grammar rather than understanding on what's legal or what's not in a foreign country? On all those answers, on all those questions, I guess the answer is definitely no. Third reason, ladies and gentlemen, our first speaker has talked about his work, his company, about him being a good ambassador in his job. But don't you realize that the reason why we conduct interviews and not just hire through resumes is that because we need to assess if a person is capable of conversing good, not just to his boss, but to his office mates and the whole organization as well. Another reason, ladies and gentlemen, is the first speaker has mentioned about grammar being the dressing of language, and he asks us, how do we feel without the dress? Well, I say that good conversation skills is the meat of language, and I ask you now, what do you do with a good dress but there is no one to wear it in the first place? He said that success in life is due to good grammar. I say wrong, because Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and Albert Einstein got there not for good grammar, but for good conversation skills, not just to the people around them, but to the bigger world in general. And with those points, ladies and gentlemen, the opposition forwards their case. Thank you.
I would like to ask a question to everybody in this audience. Didn't my worthy opponents, with their perfect grammar, present their case quite well? Yes? They had to resort to using good grammar to articulate what they're trying to say. even for this debate. And to come to the point, why are we all here today? We are here today because we are not just being judged on a conversational skills. I'm sure there would be many more teams here if that was the case. We are here for our entire speech, the whole presentation, the content, the diction, and obviously grammar. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. My team strongly believes that studying grammar is important, yes, because language without grammar is like a dish without spices, completely bland, completely tasteless. How can you articulate something to someone if you don't use proper grammar? That's not acceptable. My worthy opponent spoke about toddlers, but we're talking about grammar. Even when a child goes to school, during interviews, they are asked to give an interview. Why? Because they want to see. So as a parent, are you trying to tell me you will just teach your child just to say the basic chola, mola, those kind of things? No, you want your child to be able to get admission in the right school. Why? Because the foundation of every education, every conversation is good grammar. What is a script if you cannot tell the audience what's required? Yes, I agree. In a speech, there's non-verbal conversation, you can have action. But how do you know in the audience if you're offending someone with the gesture? How do you know that one gesture which is maybe good in a country, well done, could be interpreted differently in another country? How do you know that you're not offending someone? And also, when we explain things like good, wrong, disagree, my friends, what are those? Those are your ways to articulate what you feel about this topic. And I completely disagree that grammar is not important. And nowhere in this topic does it say that studying grammar means that you're not practicing it. Are we saying that whatever we study don't be implemented? Then if that's the case, then why are we here in Toastmasters? Why are we here to self-improve ourselves? Why do we have a grammarian who is there for Oasis Toastmasters, UAE Advanced Toastmasters, if there is no importance? And I would like to close by saying that my worthy opponent clearly said that they do not ignore benefit of good grammar. That means they agree with us. That means they understand the importance of grammar, and that clearly states, my dear friends, that grammar is important. Over to you.
Good evening once again.
Good evening.
Studying grammar is more important than practicing conversation skills. For when we learn conversation, grammar will automatically follow. If I ask you honestly to answer me, how many of you learned proper English grammar from your teacher who said past participle this rule, present continuous this rule? You don't really remember the rules. It is through practice of these conversations that you learn proper English grammar. For a conversation to occur, what do you need? You need a listener and a speaker. But is it only words that contribute to this conversation? And is it only if there is perfect grammar that this conversation will be a success? I think not. For, as Shula said, it is your body, your body language, your looks, and the tone of speaking. Can I ask the married men in the room? When you enter and your wife gives you the look, it's her body language, the look, and her tone that tells you she's mad at you for coming home late. There was no grammar that had to be used over there. So once again, me and my team stand strongly for the topic. Studying grammar is more important than practicing conversation skills. Thank you.
Respected moderator, members of the audience, good evening.
Good evening.
My team has successfully established the fact that grammar is more important by sharing personal examples, life experiences, and how grammar has helped us enhance our personal and professional lives. Just to recap, our opening speaker spoke about his true life experiences, wherein we mentioned about his mentor, Dr. Sundarajan, and how he emphasized the need of studying grammar. Today, he has improved, and he is improving each day. so much so that he feels that he is the brand ambassador of his organization. He further substantiated the fact that he is still studying grammar at home as well, and he is never ashamed of the fact that his kids are still correcting him. We are always trying to improve ourselves. My other team member, Madam Toastmaster Preeti, in her rebuttal said, conversation with grammar is like a dish without spices, completely bland and tasteless. She also pointed out that every Toastmaster meeting we have a grammarian. Why is that? Why do we have a grammarian? It is because we need to improve. We need someone to monitor and we need someone to tell us, you could have perhaps used this sentence in a better way. My dear friends and everybody here, including my opponent, we the members of the debate team from UAE Advanced Toastmaster Club firmly believe that studying grammar is more important than practicing conversational skills. Remember, without grammar, language does not exist and we would not be here debating this evening. Mr. Moderator.